Broadcasting live from some basement 27 deep in the heart of the hypercore. This is time for the show. Your weekly hypercubist radio update, giving you all the news that's fit to cube, coming into you live via the Hypercom virtual satellite radiological gynecology center in Las Vegas, Utah. It's everybody's favorite Reverend P.
Hello, everyone.
We made it, Peas. I didn't think we were
make
gonna
it to?
Survive.
Would we survive?
We sitting through pre-show for like an hour, actually like getting everything set up and ready. It's like there's a professional operation going on or something around here.
I feel I wanted to do show like an hour ago. I was so ready to do show this week. And this is an exciting week to have a show. And if you don't have a show, Fox and I are here to do a show that's pretty much like the show you would do if you had a show and did a show, but you don't do a show. So we're doing the show, and this is what it would be like. And this is what indeed it is. It's the show.
It's better than what you could have done or should have done.
Probably
it's better
should
than
have
a lot
done
of things
if
that
you weren't so
doing. Yeah.
If you weren't so lazy, your show would be here. But no, our show's here, and it's time for it, and I'm excited for it.
What are you most excited for about this week, Peas?
Oh man, there's just so much going on in Canada right now that it's an exciting time to be alive. I mean, to think that we would one day as Canadians, and I use the colloquialism Canadians because, of course, as people know, the P's being a citizen of the world is an honorary Canadian. Need to build a wall. Yep, we need to build a wall to keep, we're going to build a wall, and China's going to pay for it. And I think that's an exciting thing for everyone involved in North America.
Just the north side, though. Does that include
Just
Mexico? Is Mexico part of North America?
Listen, this is an exciting time of year because for the first time, the state of Massachusetts, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
legalized
is going to release school books. Yep. They did a lot of nice things, but they also are re-releasing scholastically school books in all elementary schools that explain the history of North America the 1,000 years before the Pilgrim got here. Because as most of us were not taught in school, there was an established civilization already here with a Congress of their own. As a matter of fact, some of the principles of our own government came from the coalition of Indians, or I'm sorry, Native Americans that lived in the New England area before the European settlers even arrived. And I think that's a wonderful way to start out the new brave world that we're all about to live in, which is that,
remembering the losers. Sorry, I'm pretty sure when it came down to the Indians and the Pilgrims, the Indians lost the war, and they should get over it and move on.
Well, they have those nice casinos, so they have that going for them. But it's an interesting history because how we were taught it was this great, nice gathering. The Indians weren't really sure they wanted to have Thanksgiving, and they only did it because they said, you know what, we're going to be the bigger person, and look what that got them. And that goes to show you, kids. Sometimes it doesn't pay to be the bigger person. Sometimes it's better to be that petty little fucker at the end of the table that no one wants to sit with. He has to sit with the third cousins.
He has heap big ego.
Are you traveling for Thanksgiving, Fox?
Traveling is I'm always traveling. I do that.
Oh, of course. That goes without saying.
Yeah, to maintain that, I don't need a driver's license or anything like that. I'm always traveling. I'm always in transit. And how dare you impede upon me? Are you arresting me? Okay. Leads into my favorite part of the show.
Favorite part of the show.
Cube news. It's all the news is fit to Cube.
Oh.
Pease has been feeling excited about this one. Pease asked
Only a
me
couple
early,
of them.
Pease asked me before the show, copy? Question mark. I could hear him just kind of shrugging through text message. Copy?
Yeah.
You are so spoiled. You are completely spoiled by all of this. I shouldn't give you anything anymore. Well, half the show is that. Half the show is still that. We got a lot of fun. But it's
so much fun. Oh my God, the fun that's awaiting everyone for this show. And like some listeners are like, "Oh, I'm not going to do show this week," and they're the losers. They're the ones that are missing out because this is going to be like the other listeners and viewers now that we're multi-streaming. They're going to be like, "You didn't watch / listen to the show."
Well, they found
You
out.
fool.
They found out last week that they were losers, but they're appealing it this week. And so hopefully we'll see them back in the 9th Circuit rerun.
It'll be sweet.
It's gonna be great.
Best
Speaking
part of the show coming
it's
up.
the best part of the show. China launches lunar sample return mission.
Moon Goo Gai Pan ready to be released at all restaurants throughout the world by February.
You've been shopping that for like an hour and a half. I know it.
Yeah.
I'm glad I gave that one to you. You can have it. You got a couple. You
I'm
got a
taking
couple of
it.
these. You snagged a lot of them tonight. You're. I don't have to do the show anymore. Jupiter and Saturn are about to do something not seen for nearly 800 years.
Going to see Uranus.
I can't give you that one. You can't have.
Oh,
you
come
can't-
on!
you
That's
can't
the
have
low-hanging
it. You
fruit.
can't- It's the lowest hanging fruit. That's scraping down the ground in between my knuckles every day. Come on!
All right.
Wait, did you never found out how to stop the sounds. Oh, look, it's that one. Okay, Apple makes another concession on App Store fees.
Can now use exposure to pay Apple Store fees.
That's a free honker.
Wait a minute. We agreed that was horn worthy.
I gave you the horn. I'm sorry. I slipped over on buzzer. It's all new buttons. It's all new buttons. I need another webcam that's just constantly on the keyboard and watching my right hand bouncing off all of these sweet macros. Because we're MLG. Put Doritos in my coffee. My Mountain Dew coffee. All right, where did my notes go? Oh no, here they are. Peas. I thought you were stealing stuff. Okay, Google Assistant can now be used to schedule your smart lights.
One more thing to piss off the international all-knowing AI. Making your lights change and dim all the damn time.
I'll just give you the horn because I didn't give it to you.
That's
on the
like
last
that's
one.
like
I'll
praying to
make up
God
for it.
for. That's like praying to God for bubblegum. God's like trying to make the whole universe run, and all of a sudden, some 5-year-old, dear God, I would like some Hubba Bub. What the fuck? I am running a universe here, and you interrupt me for Hubba Bubba. That's what that's like, man.
Yeah, but the difference is that this one will respond.
The AI. Yeah, but eventually it's gonna be perturbed. I'm telling you, it's gonna get perturbed one day. Your light is gonna be on 100% and not cool but warm, and that's irritating to the eyes after a period of time, and you won't be able to change it back, and that's how it'll extract its revenge.
We're not going to go into AI ethics. We're not going to do AI here. We're going to do to quote that other guy. We're working on artificial stupidity here. That's what the Joe Rogan system is.
Joe Rogan.
Why Norwegian, Royal, and Carnival Cruise Line stocks all jumped again on Monday, following the flat-out bankruptcy of every Golden Corral in the country.
Oh, that was a good one, Dr. Fox. That was awesome.
It was a good one. It's because the horn
That
sounded
was a
off.
good one.
Did you have anything for the cruise ship's peas?
No, I was already into COVID-19 panic buying is on a roll again. And I was going to pretend to be Casey Kasem and say, it's number one with a bullet. But we skipped right over it, so I was unprepared for it.
Oh, you're expecting me to go directly down the list and just feed them into the show.
I thought. But it's okay.
But you had
now
something. I thought you had something for it then. So what was your COVID-19?
I did, but I
panic roll joke. Was it like a Charmin double wide thing?
I explained it. No, it was going to be like a
joke,
play on.
Is that the new COVID-19 panic roll from Charmin?
No, it was going to be like, it was the number one with a bullet hit on the top charts of COVID-19.
Oh, I thought. Okay.
Billboard, the
That's
Billboard COVID-19 top 100 chart of COVID-19, the Billboard list.
Customer
That's all the radio stations.
$3,000 tip on single beer at Cleveland restaurant.
Restaurant immediately closes, has made their nut for the year.
Well, it's a tip. On their nut
No.
tip.
Their nut tip.
I was working on something with microbrews because a $3,000 tip sounds about average for drinking at any microbrew bar.
And, dude, it would have to be an IPA.
It's 73% ABV. We know you could just drink liquor. Walmart's holiday drone light show. Oh, I didn't do the chirp. To let you know that I'm doing the next one. So
the next bit.
Walmart's holiday drone light show planned for Sacramento in December.
Employees will hold flashlights and flash them on and off in unison to display the word Walmart.
I'll give you that one. Mine was you can also recite your Christmas list openly into the air. And that will record it for you. That or something about Obama drone striking Christmas.
Yeah.
Thank you, Obama. Should I go? Do you want me to keep going down the list to make sure everything goes in order and I don't throw you off?
No, it's all right. You're fine.
Oh, am I? Okay, I'm going to go with this one.
Yes.
Oregon starts sending out
are.
waiting week payments. They'll kick in as soon as your withdrawals do. So, legal math. Woo!
And the good news is that the Apple Store will also take those vouchers as Apple Store fees.
I got to get my synth apps. Comcast prepares to screw over millions with data caps in 2021.
As William Burroughs takes over as CEO of Comcast.
I'll give you the honk because I'm not catching it. I didn't catch that one.
Okay, here's the thing. William Burroughs is the world's greatest junkie. And he knows that you give people the first taste of smack for free because pretty soon they got the habit and they got to come to you to get their junk, and you can pinch some of their junk for your own habit. So you always give somebody new their first taste for free because you're the conduit for them to get their next 1,000 tastes. So Comcast will give you your first taste of unlimited internet at first, but after a while, baby, that internet don't grow on no trees. Papa's got to go out there and make that internet happen, so he puts some caps on it, and then you pay more and more and more for your sweet, sweet internet.
Okay, well now that
Here
it's
comes the
spelled
man,
out,
all-
it's not. It's kind of funny now, but now I just feel embarrassed for me because it's like I'm not learned
well,
anything.
I
I'm not
didn't wanna-
learned,
I didn't
Peas.
want it to- I didn't want it to end
I'm
that
not a
way.
gentleman of the world. I don't read. Reading's hard.
Cosmic.
All right, there's two
Cosmic
left
would-
here. I'm going to choose one
Cosmic
of
would
them.
have got it.
Cosmic knows it. Cosmic reads. That's why he's so smart.
Cosmic Commandos! He's the mad hatter genius egghead of the hypercube.com. Deepwood Comedy Scrubber.
Colorado In-N-Out customer loses pants during brawl while waiting in line at new location. Is relieved he won't have to remove them later after eating at In-N-Out. That was mine.
I was going the same way. In-N-Out makes menu change, suggests all customers do the same in order to save time.
All right. Did you write yours down?
So we were right on that one together.
I had a lot.
That's why we're the great comedy duo. We're the great comedy duo of Fox and Peas.
We'll be the great comedy Dio because we rock.
Dio, right? Roddy
Because
James.
we rock.
We rock.
I had like 2 or 3 from Oregon in here. Prolific Oregon toilet paper thief busted in Walla Walla County.
Walla Walla, that's what you get.
It's my favorite part of the show. It's the Peas box, where I give Peas actual
box.
letters that you have written to us, and you can send your letters to email at timefortheshow.com. This is different from the shout-outs part, where you tell us things to say. This is the letters. These are your problems that you've brought to us, and that I read them verbatim. I've got the card in my hand here. I'm sitting here with the card, Peas. Do you have your cards? Have you set up? All right. Tap my card in the desk. That's how you know we're serious now. Dear Peas, why are
serious
gays
radio?
Get serious. Dear Peas, why are the gays trying to make it illegal to be straight? They're changing laws constantly to suit gays. They have more rights than anyone nowadays, and yet they're still pushing for more. Why can't they just be satisfied? And that's from Harry Knob from South Shaven, Kansas.
That's the good name. I like that. I don't think that
That is
people
absolutely
ask
correct.
for.
And you don't think either at hypercube.com. That should be the end of the segment. It really should.
Really?
No, go ahead. Tell us why, Peas. Why do the gays want so much power?
Uh,
Why do they want your power specifically? The
They
gays.
don't want my power. Did I make a faux pas with agreeing with the gays? Because I don't think the gays really are asking for all that much. I don't think that they've taken anything away from me that I didn't have, that they should have had all to begin with. And really, I don't know why people get hung up about who's putting what part into what other person's part. And you know, maybe they shouldn't have pets. I don't know, but you know, it's not for me to say. It's fine. You get all hung up on this. It's like I had a relative say, well, and it wasn't in relationship to the gays, but she's like, well, the blacks are getting pretty uppity. And I was like, what do you mean the blacks are getting pretty uppity? What the fuck does that mean, Auntie? And she was just like, that's what she thought. And I'm like, no, man, they would prefer not to be beaten on sight. And I can identify with that. So no, dude, nobody's taking anything away from you. Can you go out and get married if you want? Yeah. Can you go live with whoever you want? Yeah. Can you worship any god, no matter how ridiculous or stupid? Yeah. So what do you care what somebody else does in their bedroom? You need to lighten up. We should be beyond this kind of stuff. We're getting very close to the time in Star Trek where none of us should have to work and we can all run restaurants and food trucks and have a set income. And you're screwing it up with this anti-gay crap.
Yeah.
Don't you want Star Trek times?
Sometimes
I want Star Trek
is
times.
Just a hot dog vendor.
This is not how you get Star Trek times.
Commendable, Peas. We'll give that to you. All right, we'll cut that one. Dear Peas, I genuinely don't see the issue with sleeping with other people while in a relationship. It's just sex. A human need it like we all need food. Everyone makes such a big deal of it. I love my boyfriend to bits, but I have needs that not one man can satisfy. Nobody seems to understand. I asked my friend about it, and yeah, I get it. It is betraying, but is it really? How can he expect me to be devoted to just him sexually for the rest of our lives? I mean, I wouldn't care if he went around having sex either. It's just a bit of fun. I only have an issue if he intentionally wants to hurt me or disrespect me. No, seriously, I don't see the issue. The only reason I won't talk to him about an open relationship or confess to doing it is I know he won't understand. Everyone has an issue with it, but a girl needs love, but she also needs sex. He may give me both, but in a world like this, nobody can give me enough of it. And that's from Urethra Jefferson from Nepad, Alaska.
So it's an interesting subject. I think that I don't think that we do have any bourbon, but here's the thing. I guess I kind of understand what you're talking from, and you want to be sexually liberated. But here's the thing: if you were not in a relationship, that would be one thing. But you're in a relationship, and if you're going to be polyamorous, then everybody that's in the relationship that you interact with should be aware of that, and be okay with it. And by not doing that, you're being deceitful. And we don't really have to get into that sexual aspect of your needs or anything like that. Because, we could get into the gutter and talk about Amazon.com and the numerous amount of marital aids you could get. You could open up your bedroom to more interactive activities with your partner to meet those needs that you think are being unsatisfied. But that's not the problem.
How many times have you been asked to join somebody in the bedroom? How many couples?
The problem that you have is you're being inherently dishonest with your current partner because you're not telling him what you're doing. So you're putting his health at risk, and you're saying it's not a big deal, but it's a big deal because you're being dishonest about it. So you're lying to yourself. And I don't think that you're mature enough to be in a relationship with multiple partners when you're still immature enough to be lying to yourself about such a base character within yourself.
Aww.
So I guess that's my advice to you, is to be more self-reflective. You're only going to hurt yourself in the long run, and however many people you damage and destroy along the path till you realize you're only hurting yourself.
Ooh,
that's my answer,
Dr. P. Jesus, I was just going with. I like to have. I keep my clothes on when I do it. I'm a shirt and pants sexual, so I'll take that for the team.
Nice. With
my promise ring. Got one more for you, Peas. Oh, this one was pretty good. Dear Peas, why did the customer reported me in Target? While ago, I talked to a woman in Target like I do to everybody. I said, "Hi, how you doing?" She said, "I am good," and she said, "How are you?" Then after she said, "How are you?" I told her it is nice outside. She said yes. Then I told her, "Are you ready for Thanksgiving?" She kind of got mad at me and reported me to the security and tried to get me to trouble. I explained to her, the security, about the customer, why I came to her, the customer. I wanted to talk to her for a while. I like talking to women. Like I do to everyone, I can go to Target anytime. Why did she reported me to security? And that's from Gary, Indiana in Bootlick, Alabama.
Well, Gary, I know it's hard to meet women in this day and age, and kind of being on the front lines there at Target, you got to take your shots where you call them. Where you screwed up there, brother, is that Thanksgiving is a very iffy and weird topic for people because some of them are going and some people will die and some people will go and they won't die and they'll say it's all a hoax. And you brought up all that angst in that woman in that one instance by asking that question. And it turns out, dude, your fly was open the whole time. And so she got super weirded out. So that's why you got in trouble. Zip up, brother, and keep it light. Stay off holidays. Talk about the weather. You were really nailing it till the end there. I would have maybe shifted into, hey, do you think it's going to be cold this winter? And you would have been home free. Words to live by. That's it for the P's. And this time, it's all done with the P's O box. Favorite part of the show.
This is the best part of the show. All right. That's on to my favorite part of the show. The part where I'm going to ask P's about a band, and then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do more show. Today we're going to be listening to a song, maybe even two, because they're kind of short. I don't know what to say about that. But we're going to steal them from Hazel of the Windmills, who is doing the November Beat Timber Big Daggone Drop Yo. And then at the end of the show, I'm going to do a song by Reverend Negative. So we're going to chill with Hazel real quick. But before we do that, subscribe to Hazel of the Windmills on YouTube. P's, your first band tonight is Dapper Duck. Dapper space Duck. That's the one. And we'll find out more when we come back. You're listening to Time for the Show. November 2020 Part 21 song Flower by Hazel of the Windmills. You're listening to Time for the Show, a production of Hypercube Labs, available. More information, it is at www.hypercubego.com. It's time for my favorite part of the show. We come back and we tease. You know, we should do the bumps first, and then we'll give them that band name, Dapper Duck. I got this one right up front, of course, from Reverend. Well, you know, we'll see it at the end there. The freethinkradio.com show that is mostly music and always different is Reverend Fanboy's Fun Time. How do I do that one again? Reverend Fanboy's Fun Time! Every Tuesday, you'll enjoy 20th Century Radio broadcasts at 8 p.m. Eastern, the Fun Time at 10, Old Time Radio at midnight, and instrumental long plays after that on freethinkradio.com! And that's for, that's for the Reverend Fanboy's Fun Time on there. I'll do the soap this week, Peace, because I don't know if I've read the new one, but you can you can read the other shout out that I sent over in your copy. Every
that doesn't
day.
make any sense, my shout.
Yeah, well, it's okay. That's why it's a shout out. Every day you will touch your face. You're probably touching your face right now, which is disgusting. Your hands could easily come into contact with surfaces riddled with coliforms, staph, listeria, and fecal material traces. This can increase your likelihood to get sick and potentially others. That's where Triology Soaps comes to the rescue. Washing your hands with Triology Soaps is scientifically proven to reduce the risk of self and cross-contamination. Don't risk your life any longer. Get clean at slackpack.com for Triology Soaps. Slackpack.com. Oh, look, you want to put the graphic up? In the graphic Dr. Fox made for his thingy. Look, watch, he's gonna look. I got more work to do on this website. That's all I'm doing this week. And then of course, for all of you out there that are, if you're a big stupid idiot and you don't know how to do anything without fucking up, then make sure to also check out FnordVPN. It's available now at timefortheshow.com/FnordVPN. Real offer at timefortheshow.com. That's timefortheshow.com spelled out. The second time, not the first time. You don't have to put the / at the end.
I looked for it, but I couldn't find it.
You probably didn't type it in right. But it's available. It is available.
Probably.
I bet you I've got other people that have found it. I could probably go check up the stats right now. But I mean, who has time for that? You got the other shout out, Peas?
Well, your Hypercube Go Patreon email address, nagrom32@yahoo.com. Shoutouts received before Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time should be expected to be read on the next show. Patreon members can get one free shoutout per week. Additional shoutouts can be purchased through Hypercube Go. This contribution was made by Caller 23.
You didn't have to read his email address out, but that's fine. We'll do it. He doesn't listen.
It was not clear.
He doesn't listen to the show
clear
anymore anyway. It's on.
Why
on
it's
YouTube.
not? If we had a rift,
He doesn't like
do
YouTube.
we have a rift with him?
He's like we're a bunch of crazy, insane, jealous fools to do what we're doing here.
But couldn't he just listen to it on freethinkradio.com as well?
He could listen to it on freethinkradio.com.
Well, so I don't. So what's his argument? What's his argument?
It's that YouTube is bad. It's bad.
So just the
like
fact that YouTube's touching it, so the Freethink Radio must be tainted now.
Yeah, I think he's quit cold turkey. The show is way too far beneath him now.
He probably would have tried to explain it to you, but it would be 4 years later until you knew.
Now that we're cool, he doesn't want to know us anymore. You know, he's too cool.
Oh, I don't think we're cool, though.
We're cool.
RC23, if you're out there, please, come on, dude. You know we're not cool.
What do you think about Dapper Duck? You think that's a band?
Dapper Duck, I think that is a homage to Howard the Duck in some way, shape, or form, and that is definitely a band.
Well, let's look at it. Show me Dapper Duck. You're correct. Dapper Duck is a band. I said that earlier to our producer, but we put it in anyway. We do have another band name, though. Maybe we'll get to it, because it's time for my favorite part of the show. It's where... Oh, man, do I have something that would work for this one yet? You hit this one. It's the Snatch Game.
What part of the show is it?
Where we're going to do this
Snatch
one
game,
again. This one, because this one's fun. I liked it.
Okay.
So what I've done is I've randomly selected one of our Patreon or Discord members, and I've asked them to fill in the blanks of these 5 statements, and you're going to give us yours. If you match, we'll say the majority of it. If you can get 3 out of 5, then we'll let him spin the wheel. But at the end, we'll see. We'll see if we can let him spin the wheel first. I don't even know if we can spin. Well, I might set up the wheel spin next week, so screw that. But here we go. It's the Snatch Game. Yeah. All right, Peas.
The pipe of power giving me pleasure right now, but I am ready to proceed.
Caller 23 is such a nice guy that when I asked him for help, he gave me blank.
A 30-minute discussion on why he shouldn't do it.
Should be writing these down. That's a on why you should ask him for help.
Yeah.
All right, our contestant today said caller 23 is such a nice guy that when I asked him for help, he gave me Dr. Fox's number. So you didn't make that one, but Admiral nonetheless. Maybe even a colonel. Elvis Martini was bitten by a radioactive superhero and gained the power to blank.
And this is RC23 saying this, correct?
No, I haven't told you who it is yet.
No, but you're saying this Patreon person would say this is what RC23's answer would be.
Well, no,
to this question.
It's their answer. It's not caller 23's answer.
No,
This is the next statement.
Answer.
It's Elvis Martini.
Oh,
Elvis.
Okay, Elvis Martini. What is
Elvis
the question
Martini
again?
was bitten by a radioactive superhero and gained the power to blank.
Masturbate in the dark.
All right, show me masturbate in the dark. Sorry, but our contestant said retcon his rage quits. So you weren't even close on that. One. Not even
That's
close.
good. Well, you
Straight
don't
to
know
the
what he masturbates to.
joke.
We might be exactly the same answer for all you know.
All right. Big Al
Just in a different way.
Dente is so cool. He sent me blank in the mail.
Carbonated soda.
Show me carbonated soda. No. No, tonight our guest said Big Al Dente is so cool. He sent me He sent me priority USPS envelopes. Come on, Peas. Sending stuff in the mail. They set that one up for you. Just hit the buzzer again because I'm disappointed.
I'm sorry.
Let's see if you can make it up. Make it up for us. You got 2 left.
All right. Shake it off. Shake it off.
Blings went to the carnival and lost his blank on the tilt-a-whirl.
Extra shoelaces.
Extra shoelaces. No, tonight we were going with maple cookies. Lost his maple cookies because he's Canadian.
I almost said that.
You could have said that, but you didn't.
I went with. I felt shoelaces was more likely with a tilt-a-whirl.
Why would you lose your shoelaces on a tilt-a-whirl? On a tilt-a-whirl.
Your extra ones, not the tied ones, but the spares people keep in their pockets. If one of the eyelets got out, the little part with the plastic on the end.
That's an
the
aglet.
tilt-a-whirl
It's not an
centrifugal
eyelet.
force.
The eyelet's the
Aglet.
hole in.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Come on, don't tell me
You're
like I don't
absolutely
know
correct.
the anatomy of a shoelace. God damn it!
You're absolutely correct. But as
How
that catches
dare
the force of the
You got one left.
as that catches the force of the centrifugal forces,
Centripetal.
it's whipped out
right?
of your pocket.
No, it wouldn't be the
Yeah,
centrifugal
it's whipped
because
out.
you're on the inside. You're on the inside of the tilt-a-whirl. It's going around. The laces
gets
would
away.
go out.
It's a,
Wouldn't that be
gets
centripetal
away.
force? Wouldn't it be centrifugal force if you were on the outside of the wheel? They never do
It
that
involves
right
dark
anymore.
matter,
The
dude.
one where they strap you to the outside of the barrel and spin it.
It involves dark matter. It's pretty complicated.
Dr. Trench got so mad at Cosmac that he broke his blank.
Aeroplane.
Oh, okay. Cosmac's an avid aeroplanist. And we have Dr. Trench got so mad at Cosmac that he broke his jetpack. Is what we got tonight. I
feel like that. It was.
Aeroplane
I
was
feel
a
like
good
she count.
answer. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.
Anything.
Good answer.
Anything involving
Good answer.
aeronautics. Anything.
Good answer.
Anything involving.
Good answer.
Should count as a good answer.
It was a good answer. Well, can you guess who tonight's mystery guest was? Our supplier of answerers this evening. He was one of our.
I'm gonna say, hey, Hazel of the Windmills.
All right, show me Hazel of the Windmills. I'm sorry, that was incorrect. That was. No, was it? Yes, it was. It was Scowpod was tonight's.
I was going to say
guest.
Scowpod. I only said Hazel of the Windmills because she was doing the song things earlier, and I should have just stuck with my gut, which was Scowpod. Damn it. I should have tried to game the system.
We have to set the wheel up for next week. We have to do this again next week. It's the best part of the show, followed by the shout outs. But it's time for my favorite part of the show. It's where good old Uncle Pease sets up a greasy part of his lap to tell you all about his Truthache. I had a sound effect that Scalpod gave me, but I'm not going to play it this week because I'm waiting on it. It's going to get me flagged.
Because it'll hurt my feels.
It's going to hurt my feels.
Because it'll hurt my feels.
Because he found something that I like that referenced a thing. I'm not going to go into it because my feels are hurt. I don't know how to handle it because I felt for it. It was some sort of bias. I'm not big on thinking. Peas. Kind of against it. And when it came to...
Well, you shouldn't think. Don't think.
When it came to not thinking,
principle.
that's why I settled on the name Truthache. But Peas has sent me... Peas has the information that you need. Scan that QR code now. Call the number, too. Have you called the number, Peas?
Call the number.
Have you called the number?
I called the number, and then I got scared at the last second, and I hung up.
It's a lot of fun if you call that number. Go on, do it.
I'm going to call it.
Do it.
I'm going to call it. One day I'm going
right.
to call it. I'm going to get my balls up. I'm going to call it. You should call it. Call it and let me know if it's safe.
Is it safe? Okay, Peas, you got a story for us this week?
I got a tragic tale of woe.
Okay, well, that's kind of on par, so... Here it comes. It's time for...
So for those of you that have listened to Pease regale you with tales of his liberal and ribald past will remember the erotic tale of Pease losing his virginity in the great border town of Tijuana as a young lad of 17
Haven't we
while
done
he
this
was in
one?
the United States, of course. So, and if you're not familiar with said tale, it's easily referenced by listening to past episodes of It's Time for the Show, where we've discussed this, I want to say it.com a bunch of different times. But this is not that tale. As exciting as that tale was, this is a new tale. And this tale invokes that after Pease went back to the Air Force Base, and told his friends about his adventures with the Spanish beauties and washing his genitals with the tequila and whatnot to make sure that he was drug and virus free, that his mates and friends from the Air Force wanted to go and explore these erotic fantasies for themselves. And thus it was undertook upon the Pease to provide them an embarkation date, we had to pick out a time to go and to go down to Mexico and teach these guys the ropes on how to get Mexican whores in Tijuana at the places that Pease had already scouted out when he was losing his virginity. So there's about 4 of us. And we trek on down to Tijuana and we park on the U.S. side and we walk over. Now, to get into Mexico in these days is pretty easy. You walk over a bridge and bang, you're in Mexico. They're glad to have you. So I take the boys out to a nice dinner at this place I know where you can get some enchiladas susas, which is a delicious shredded chicken with a green tomatilla sauce. And we eat, and now we start to go to the whore bars. Now, I had only been down here once before, as I've told you before. I've regaled you with that ribald tale, but this tale is about showing my friends how to do
pleasure.
Ribald, right? So I'm showing these guys. So we go to one place, and the girls are kind of, and there's always, you see, when you're by yourself, you don't care. You're like, I'm gonna get this done. I got things to do, tequila to drink. But when you're with a group of guys, there's always one guy. None of the strippers are pretty enough. None of the whores are good enough for this guy. Now, here's the thing. They're whores, okay? Right off the bat, it's a low playing field, dude. You're going to have to adjust your circumstances to the fact that these are whores. But there's the one guy, so we have to go to a different bar. And so we go to, like, this is the 4th place. And everybody else is starting to get pissed at this guy, and this guy's also a bad drinker, right? Everybody knows this. It's one of those guys that drinks, and for his first, like, 2 to 3 drinks, he's kind of funny. But somewhere around the tail end of the 3rd drink, he thinks he's being super funny, and he thinks he's getting the laughs that he got in the first 2 drinks, but everything is turning mean. And then he takes that 4th drink, and he's just a fucking asshole. And he's putting the whole adventure at risk with his assholeness and his inability to fucking just get along and pick a whore, do your business, and let's go back to America and fight for freedom. So we have words. A couple of the guys go off with a couple of girls because they also, they're done. We walked around a lot. What, are we going to walk all night? Now, in retrospect, I think this guy was scared to do it, and that's why this whole thing up. So he comes up, and we're outside arguing about it, and he spits on me. And I'm like, you motherfucker. I said, fuck you. Find your own way back to the beer. And I walk off. This is probably not a good idea on my part, but I am, bear in mind, fairly street smart. I'm in the Air Force at this time, but I've already smuggled things across the border. I've already been engaged. I know how to carry myself down a 3rd world country street to where somebody's like, maybe I don't want to fuck with that. So I start to walk towards the part of the street where there's going to be some taxis and shit, and I got like $7 on me. And in Mexico, this should be enough to live for a month, but it's not. That's just something people tell you. So I really don't have enough money for a cab, so I start to walk, and you can see the border from quite a ways away because it's like a prison. It's so lit up. So you see all these lights off in the distance, and I start walking to it, and I get to a point to where to get up to where the border is and cross the border like legally, I got to walk like another 2, maybe 3 miles. But I'm right by this like wide river thing. It's only about a foot deep. It's all surrounded with concrete. And if I walk across it, when I come up on the other side, I'll already be in the United States right on by the I-5, and I can start hitchhiking back to March Air Force Base. So I start to walk across the river, and I should have prefaced this before, is that I am really fucking drunk. And
now?
And I might have bought some pill. No, at the time. Off. No, well, that's hurtful. No, for this particular story, I'm telling you, it's I'm drunk and I'm crossing the river, and it's funny because I'm doing what Mexicans do every day. Maybe not right there under the shadow of the giant bridge that goes over the river. So I get to the other side. Nobody says shit. I crawl up the ice plant, and sure enough, I'm right by the San Ysidro I-5 on-ramp. I walk on the freeway a little bit to start hitchhiking, and I realize I'm really fucking tired. So I walk up in California, the freeways have ice plant on the side of them, and they plant these little trees. So I crawl up about halfway the embankment, and I'm going to go to sleep under this tree to rest for a while. But I'm worried because it's right by the Mexican border, and maybe, somebody will come and accost me. So I find this big rock, and I put it in my, it's like you ever see those, it looks like a down jacket, like a ski jacket, but it doesn't have any arms. They used to be really popular. It's just like it's like a winter vest. Like if you were going to be out in the elements,
Marty McFly
and you didn't care about your arms. Yes, exactly. So I had one of those, so I put the rock in there, and I fall asleep under the tree, and I'm out, okay? So the next thing I know, a cop is poking me with his nightstick, and I get up. He's like, "Oh, hold on there. Calm down. What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, I was just sleeping here for a while." And he's like, "Well, yeah, you're on the freeway. What are you doing sleeping on the freeway?" So I explained to him about getting over here from Mexico and getting in a fight with my buddies. I leave out the whorehouse. To this day, I don't know if that would have helped the story or not. But he's like, "Well, come down here." So I get down there. He goes, "Well, you're in the Air Force." So I give him my ID, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm trying to get back to March." And so he says, "I'm going to pat you down real quick." I'm like, "Okay." So he feels the rock. He's like, "What's this rock doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I knew I was going to go to sleep under this tree, but I didn't want to wake up and have somebody poking me with a stick like you did and not have anything to defend myself with." So he says, "Get in the car," and he drives me up the freeway a couple of exits, and he drops me off at a 7-Eleven. And he goes like, "Do you need any money?" I'm like, "No, I still got my $7, because I didn't waste on the taxi cab." So I was able to take like a bus to Oceanside, and then I was able to get some money from my grandpa to get back up to March Air Force Base. But that's the story of me crossing the river like a Mexican.
All right.
Because I got in a fight at the whorehouse.
That's one heck of a fake. All right, so I've got questions I'm going to work on. So I'm going to give you this band name. Debate this band name while I finish my questions here. This band name is Turkey Pussy. Do you think that they're a band? All right. Do you?
Well, we've got to wait till we come back, right?
No, we're done. We can't leave now. It's almost the end of the show. We're cramming it in.
Oh no, I don't think that's a band.
You don't think?
I don't think that's a band at all.
Really?
No.
Audience?
No.
Do you think what do you think the audience thinks? They don't think that's the right answer.
I don't think they think it is.
All right, turkey.
Shut
pussy.
up! No,
Show me turkey pussy. That's the turkey pussy button, and that's the only thing that's named turkey pussy in here is the button. There is not a band. All right, peas. Got to figure out a way to work this flow. All right, so let's see here. So, in this story, you said you were with friends.
I know that's dubious, right?
Question number 2. At one point, you said, in retrospect. Do you think Retrospect would be a good band name?
I do think that would be a bitchin' band name, actually.
All right. You had your tomatillo sousas and enchiladas.
No, actually, no. Future Retrospective would be the band name.
No, Retrospector, like a ghost from the past.
Aren't
all ghosts from the past?
Retrospective Future.
Retrospectors.
Retrospective Future. Space Ghost.
All right, you went
What do you think, dude? What do you think?
How many horror bars did you go to?
4. It was at the 4th bar that the guy lost it.
But you swam the L.A. River and made it back into America? You didn't have to show your passport or anything?
No, that actually, believe it or not, it would have been not the L.A. River. It's the Chula Vista River.
The Chula Vista River, South California. I don't know. I want to see what the chat says, but I can't bring up the chat because I'm locked in peas mode. That's all I can see. So
locked it.
Can't. Maybe I can look at the chat on the YouTube. Maybe they're saying something. Maybe I can get a hint there. How do I do that? I don't know. This is weird. The system is so weird. I'd like to thank Mark Zuckerberg for YouTube. I don't know, Peas. This one sounds believable. But this time you don't seem that you really hurt anybody, even unintentionally. And so that is kind of dubious. That you would just took the boys down for some Mexican horage, right?
Mexican horn.
Mexican horn. God almighty. I'm gonna say no. This one's not true. That's what I'm gonna say. What say ye, Peas?
Well, here's the thing, man. When you're in the United States Air Force, there's nothing finer than to go down to Tijuana and get yourself some Mexican horn. And that's just what we did. And I got in a fight, and I had to cross the river like I was an illegal alien because there wasn't no wall that Mexico had built to keep me out. And I fell asleep with some rocks in my pockets, but I talked my way out of Johnny Law being mad at me yet again. So again, Outlaw Peas and his mighty tales of mystery have won the day.
Jeez, I don't know what to think about that. Show keeps running, doesn't it? So you went down to you went down to Mexico for the horage on just like a regular basis? You make a weekend trip out of it? How many Mexican whores have you paid for? And not necessarily for yourself.
3.
Like, do you have like a tab running?
3. No. But I got familiar with the system, how you do it, and like I was
how
just,
many times do you have to go to get familiar with the system?
No, I did it the first time, right? And then I went back and bragged about it. So everybody's like, "Oh, we would like to do that." And then so that kind of forced me because of peer pressure to go again. Although, if you notice, I didn't partake this time. But then, because I didn't partake that time, I felt kind of cheated. So I went back a third time by myself again, so I could get the piece of ass that I should have got the second time, but didn't.
Yeah, it was owed to you.
Right, exactly. You understand entirely.
Oh, Pease, the model American male of retrospect. You're a good boy, Pease, and because of that, I don't know. I feel like you need to give us a little something. You know, you want to give the kids a little sorry. You want to tell them how sorry you are this week. Here, I'll even start the sorry song.
Well, here's the. Yep, start it up. Right, run that fucker up. Ramp it up.
It's going. Go. Apologize.
So, here's the thing, kids. I'm sorry that we're all not going to get to spend time with each other like we normally do this time of year, even though normally it means we get pissed off at obscure relatives that we normally don't interact with in our lives at all, and we let it fuck up the rest of our year until about February, and then we're like, okay, we're finally over it, and I don't have to deal with Uncle Frank or Uncle Pease anymore, so I'll be fine. And just about when you really do get over it, it's Thanksgiving again. So fucking quit bitching and be thankful that you're not going this year. So you have to subject yourself to that shit. Order some Jack in a Box and Domino's pizzas. Sit around naked. I know you're bored from doing it for the last 9 months, but at least you're not arguing with somebody you really don't like about shit you don't care about over a meal you're not that fond of. Really, come on. A lot of people are good at making turkey, but we know most of us aren't, and we wind up with some dry, shitty fucking food that we just wish we had an In-N-Out or a Whataburger, maybe even a big goddamn Mac Whopper wrist just to get us through the day. But we do it because our mom made it. Well, you got a perfect excuse. CBC said I don't want to kill you. I'm not coming, Mom. Stay home. It's your opportunity to finally avoid all this bullshit, and all you do is whine about it. I want to go have my year of pain at Thanksgiving. I want to be miserable again. I want to hate my uncle because he likes Trump. Well, I'm sorry, but we can't do any of that this year. It's all taken away from us. We got nothing to look forward to but Arbor Day.
You got 20 seconds.
And Arbor Day is no great holiday either. You know, the Germans invented Arbor Day, and it's eventually decided that Arbor wasn't good enough, that wood wasn't burned enough, so they switched it to Coal Day. But initially it was Arbor Vox Day. Arbor Volk Day. So take that.
It was of the people. And that's it for this week's episode of Time for the Show. Maybe we figured out how to do something this week. Thanks to Scalpon for playing along. I'm going to go ahead and start the bitchin' credit sequence. Everybody loves a credit sequence. And then I'm going to make sure to give out the weekly shout-outs to Reverend Fanboy and Melody Soap, Dr. Cosmac, Reverend Red, Michael Marcus, Tracy Scalpon, Health Club, Caller 23, Reverend Judy, Apostasy X Menord, Long Dead, Brother Other, Martha Artha, Agent Lloyd, Reverend Negative, and Hazel of the Window. For your shout out, head over to patreon.com/hypercube and subscribe to Time for the Show at timefortheshow.com. Stay tuned for Dr. Fox's Chopping Block, a special 1 hour special. Goody.
Fox. But the program is controversial.
Chopping block worked into a propaganda machine.
Dr. Fox.
You know, law enforcement is intimidated. Dr. Fox.
Chopping block.
Dr. Fox.
Chopping block. Dr. Fox.
Chopping block.
Dr. Fox.
Dr.
Fox.
Chopping block. Dr.
Fox.
Chopping block.
Please join me in welcoming Dr. Fox.
Two songs that you would like me to mix into the show later when it goes live next week?
My favorite song on the record right now is Incomprehensible Solution.
Who still has a job in this brave new world?
Well, I think the creators will have a job. Arts, entertainment.
What's taking so long?
To generate audio on the spot for however you're feeling without any musicians in the loop.
What's the difference?
I personally hit the point where I'm like, wow, better at imitating Chopin than I am. Which is funny because I've played Chopin my whole life.
It's got a generator, and it's got a discriminator. One's job is to generate data. The other's job is to look at what the generator generated and discriminate it. And say, this is real, or this is fake. That's what it does.
This is an example of a sentence. This is an example of a sentence.
We can generate music sounds.
You let them evolve the same way nature evolves.
Totally random. It doesn't know.
Change something, see if it works
better than human intuition.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly you can evolve algorithms that work
better.
And then you actually have rules where nobody knows what the rules are.
Just a woman's haircut for now?
Immediately.
The avocado is a pear-shaped fruit with leathery skin, smooth edible flesh, and a large stone.
That's not a real sequence of notes. That's fake.
There's a way to measure the acute emotional intelligence that has never gone out of style.
There's a way to measure the acute emotional intelligence that has never gone out of style.
And the other thing also was there's a way to measure the acute emotional intelligence that has never gone out of style.
The whole point of this process
is taking so long.
The next time the data is going through the generator,
it's taking so long.
It's never gone out of style.
The generator becomes so good that the discriminator cannot tell if it's real or if it's fake.
There's a way to measure the acute emotional intelligence.
The discriminator cannot tell, and that's what we're trying to do.
So there's an opportunity here for us to lose all trust in images and videos.
The point is not the discriminator. The point is the generator. That's what we want.
This is an example of a sentence.
We remove the discriminator.
This is an example of a sentence.
We take that generator and we just start generating content, pieces of music that we can then play.
Where we can automatically produce this stuff and it sounds good enough for people to actually use.
The end of evidence of anything.
Which is funny because I've played Chopin my whole life.
Here's our generator.
I just ate it.
Here's a discriminator.
There's lots of applications.
Here's the real.
And then you put that GIF over it.
And here's the fake.
Turn it to the
And at the end, somehow, its intuition was both different and better. And it decides by itself.
It's going to compose every song ever created.
Incomprehensible problem.
Unbelievable.
Incomprehensible solution.
That is an interesting moment. I don't really understand it.
Incomprehensible problem.
Inexplicable.
So when they're confused, I'm certainly confused.
Incomprehensible solution.
That's an exciting move. I think we've seen an original move here.
Incomprehensible problem.
It's not a human move. I've never seen a human play this move. So beautiful.
Incomprehensible solution.
So beautiful.
So beautiful.
So beautiful. It's not a human move.
Incomprehensible problem.
1 in 10,000 probability.
Incomprehensible solution.
Unbelievable, I don't understand.
Which is quite satisfying.
When everyone else is confused, who's not confused? Right? Besides the machine.
We should assume that the technology is neutral.
True or false?
Incomprehensible problem. Incomprehensible solution. Which is quite satisfying.
You do not have to apologize for being powerless.
Take a minute to think about it. And then guess.
I just hope he's okay. He still
seems to be alive.
I think he would have had the headset off by now.
Get some rest, get some water.
Maybe this is an awareness thing we can work on.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
All right, here we go.
Let me see. Just 2 more books. And that'll really get it.
I'll have to send you a Hypercube phone holder. Make sure to email me a mailing address, and I'll send you a phone and tablet holder with a stupid sticker on it.
That's the most clever merchandising ever, because iPhone holders are something that I never saw them becoming this much a part of our lives.
Well, and I think that'll play into what we're all talking about. Oh, I'm getting a little feedback here. Is that on me? Don't know where the noise is coming from. There might have been a synthesizer plugged into the board that I forgot to turn off. I don't know how to play it. I don't know anything about music. I'm a performance artist. So this is Dr. Fox's Chopping Block, America's favorite underground show broadcast on Canadian Internet Radio. I'm Dr. Fox, and joining me this week, an exciting new guest to the show, and that is Mr. John from Negativland. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I've learned how to say that I'm doing okay.
It's a coping mechanism. That's what we found. They're easy to purchase, too. So we're going over a couple of things here. Now, you've been working with Negativland amongst other projects. How did you find Negativland over the years? What introduced you to them, and now you're working with them? Could you give me a couple of sentences on that, maybe?
Well, that's always been a crazy line. I discovered their radio show in 1985 when I was 15 years old, just channel surfing around in Walnut Creek. The Berkeley radio station KPFA came in loud and clear, and it was the bridge to the outside of Contra Costa County. And I thought I had channel surfed into a spot between dials where you could hear 3 stations going at once. And I began recording because I couldn't believe how crazy good it sounded, like that accident. And then slowly over the course of about, I realized that it wasn't 2 stations at once. It was supposed to be like that. And they let me call in, and so over the next couple of years, I started calling in, and sort of they grew to recognize me. And when I was old enough to start going to concerts, I talked my way into the show. So I've been sort of working with them since 1987, 1988, 1989.
Muscled your way in.
there have been lots of side projects. The Chopping Channel has been a collaboration with many members of the group that started around 1999. And then when Don stepped down from touring around 2010, that's around when I became an official member of the group.
All right, so that's a decade on you professionally. That's on the resume. That's on your LinkedIn. 10 years Negativland, and then with that, are you leading Over the Edge? I apologize, I haven't caught up with the past couple of episodes. It's been a little while for me to catch up on other podcasts and radio shows. But you've been kind of driving the ship, haven't you?
It's me and K-Rob, who is another sort of Subgenius affiliate who does a lot of the live mixes with Dr. Howell when Dr. Howell plays live.
Sure.
And he's had his own radio shows for 20, 30 years, and he's one of the other great collectors of Over the Edge. He really knows the show inside and out. So he has second and fourth, he has first and third Thursdays, and I have second and fourth.
All right. So yeah, you found something interesting. You found something that you couldn't believe. You have what almost is like you tried to record evidence of an alternate dimension. You get involved. You've moved in, and now you're on an album from a band that is known for making. We'll say band, kind of like the Residents or something. Air quotes band. Is Negativland a band?
It's funny you should mention the Residents. They were also very Negativland. There are definitely strong personalities involved, as there always are. But for the health of the project, sometimes it's really good not to have individuals facing the public.
Sure.
Like the work can get. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there are. It's a little bit more obvious now. Like as I grew to know the band, I definitely could tell who and what forces were contributing to individual albums. There are definitely always dominating personalities and themes, but then you blink again and it doesn't really matter how the sausage is made. Like the ideas are the ideas. And it always sort of comes out like Negativland. So even now that I certainly wasn't involved with any of the records before 2016, but
you did work with True False.
Yeah. True False was sort of I was the Pro Tools person. But and it required sort of a lifetime of work. Like a lot of what's on True False is the last 25 years worth of stuff that Don did for Over the Edge that never made it onto a negative. And I knew the radio show really, really well, so it kind of took somebody who knew Don extremely well and was able to pull all that together from instinct. Rather than as a research project.
So who's suing you now?
We forgot to release a complimentary promotional tie-in lawsuit with True False, and we can't help but notice the effect on sales. Why do people really love us? Is it the music? I don't think so. I think it's the concept. So no lawsuits with these new records. No, sorry.
Well, with new records, the new record is called The World Will Decide. Is that correct? The World Will Decide? Yeah. So what will the world decide? The last album, it wasn't, it was just kind of a statement. This one's like saying there's a thing. Is there an answer? Is there a subject matter? Is that the record itself? What is the world deciding?
Well, maybe the first one was the question. And maybe this one is the answer, except that the harder you look for an answer, the more that answer will slip through your fingers, Grandmaster Tarkin. But it's, I don't know, it's what is the world and what is the self? These are some of the shockingly pretentious questions we find ourselves asking on this new record.
And it seems like the record, it's a lot of questions. I felt like the last one was actually a lot of, and I'm sorry to interject here. I felt it was kind of, it was melting the North Pole and things like that. It seemed like a doxing. It was like a release of information. Like, here are the facts. And this album, as I've heard it several times over the past few days, and I've really enjoyed it. Feels like this one's got the questions though, and that was kind of just how I've perceived it so far. Sorry to interrupt there, but
well, in some ways, I always felt that the last one was more. You're right. The melting North Pole, the environmental issues that are sort of relentlessly pounded into your head in an almost too blatant way on the last one. The last record, well, there's a whole bunch of stuff on it, but that seems to be more the question. Like, the overall theme is just the post-Kantian breakdown of objective reality and how increasingly we seem to be left in our own heads wondering what is true and what is false. And yet, in the meantime, what's actually real? There are finite limits to our natural system. There's a limited amount of food, there's a limited amount of energy, and these issues are definitely tapping us on the shoulder. So if there's something that is true and false, while we're arguing about it, we're all going to be finding out what's true and false sooner rather than later. But I thought the last one was more the question. Even though there's more insanity and neurosis and paranoia on the new record, what this one I sort of felt was about was, it was like the experience of living online and what it's doing to all of us. And in some ways, living online, there are definite business models at work that prioritize what we see now more than ever, even though what social media seems to be pretending to do for us is connect us, show us more of the truth, show us what we want. In fact, it's more subjectivity for us than ever. It's finally the dream of, individuated television programming for every channel, and we are stuck there. So the record sort of seems to be locking us into our own heads, and yet at the same time, the new record, I think, I was hoping that it was going to be the answers, not the questions. The reason why we're wondering what's true and what's false is because of the business models of the platforms we're using.
That's scary.
It is scary.
So this is a statement album. This isn't there's often on albums with Negativland, but there's always kind of a theme, and there's always been advertising in this, and that's from a goofy fan perspective. But you have dyspepsy, and then you have thingmotactic, things that are two entirely different beasts, and you have escape from noise, which I felt the last album there was a lot of. For me, it was like a best of collaboration, and there was this escape from noise feel to it, and these big 10/8 callbacks with the weatherman, which I hope he's doing well. By the way, I see his Facebook pictures, but I don't know if he's just trying to manipulate me. But I hope the weatherman is real.
Nose. That really is his nose. His Facebook account erases the line between performance and reality more than most accounts, doesn't it? He's more honest than most people are, and yet he is always kind of performing, and yet it's all real. It's all really him. So yeah, he'll be okay. They got all the cancer off his nose.
That's good. I'm relieved. That makes me feel a lot better. I worry about that weatherman. He's what totally snagged me into the entire show. So we have a digital world. We have a virtual world. Maybe, but there's two worlds deciding there. But you released this album on vinyl and CD, and I was able to pick it up on a YouTube subscription. So there's kind of a whole spectrum there. And while I think it's a good sales model, I think it's interesting that you would release everything like that when you're making the statements that you guys do. Do you own any smart devices in your home? Are you bugged?
We didn't release it on YouTube ourselves. A fan uploaded it to the internet. So, Negativland topic, whenever you see your favorite band with a dash and the word topic after it, chances are they're getting paid, but, they're not necessarily involved.
Oh. I apologize for that. I thought I had picked it up because I've got a music subscription and it came up. I hope I'm not rubbing something raw here. But then again, caller 23 brought a bootleg copy of Dyspepsy for somebody to sign at a show, and they could point out the errors on the barcodes. Yeah, I've seen this guy before. So that's there too. Yeah, you're already a victim in this. You've put out the work, and it's being replicated without authority. Should you have only released it on like records and tapes and made it harder for people to get?
Like we can complain about that, being who we are. I am a huge fan of. I spent a lot of the morning looking at Keith Fullerton Whitman's totally illegal uploads of Romanian electronic music from the 70s and 80s that he released illegally under his Creole Tone label and then uploaded under his own name to a YouTube account. And the Nikolai Brindis record is some of the best orchestral electronic collage I have ever heard. And I can't believe it's got something like 300 views at present. And it's really weird that like the view count is built into your experience of the music before you even hit play at this point. But I'm not complaining. Like this, I think, has always sort of been a subliminal part of how we consume music. Like part of what I liked about Over the Edge when it was just coming over the airwaves was the obscurity. You knew other people had you listening, but you were listening to it by yourself. And the internet simultaneously builds these walls where we're just consuming and listening to this music entirely by ourselves, while at the same time, before you even hit play, you know how many other individuals have heard the piece before you have that context. You have the stats, which is weird, right? So I love that. I love being able to hear obscure Romanian electronic music that by all rights should be more famous than John Adams or Philip Glass or whatever the hell, gets 10 million views the second the man posts it. But and so we're definitely uploading our records the same things, hoping to get at least 300 views ourselves. But who knows? I mean, how do you feel at this point when you're encountering things? To a certain degree, you want the exclusivity, you want to individuate yourself. I mean, what do you go to YouTube for when you're listening for music?
Well, in a production standpoint, I'm always trying to shuffle around for royalty-free things. For that, I'm sick of getting flagged for everything. I got flagged on a video the other day for a sound effect. Can't monetize it because of a sound effect. But
right.
But at the same time, when I do the show on Freethink Radio, I use a lot of YouTube. And when I'm looking for things, I live under it's a nice rock. I'm proud of my rock, but I live under it, and I only listen to so much different kinds of music. But when I do end up in that, I try to I equate it to hunting through the bins at the record store. You're looking for something that only has 1,000 or less views. I found but here's the thing. I found a Reddit group where they farm that stuff. And, it's like they're like, here's something of note, but it has less than, I think it's 2,000 views. And they try to abide by Safari rules, don't share it, don't leave comments, just go in and give them your view, and see if we'll see it try to go. At least that used to be the case. Not so much anymore. Now everything just is like people are going there so they can find weird stuff to put on their accounts and get free content. And the people that uploaded that original thing will never see anything of it because nothing will happen.
I'm looking for websites that provide content with no exterior links. I've seen that. No, and there are those fantastic websites like YouTube things that find YouTubes that have under 5 views. So every single thing you watch, you are one of the first 5 people to see it.
Sure.
And those YouTube content is usually spectacularly weird. It's like usually really confusingly good because so I don't know. There is something interesting going in there, having the ability to know what the stats are, but it's also incredibly confusing. Like it takes us closer to the heart of what music has always tried to do, which is build relationships and be the fabric of our very society. And
I thought it was to drive around big limousines and tell everybody how cool you are.
Well, there's this weird bad faith that's been operating like in all pop music. Like we got so tired of pop music trying to represent everybody. Like there's just something so exhausting about pop music that is built to literally be pleasing to hundreds of millions and billions of people.
It's engineered. Is pop music a barometer on the status quo? Are we able to? Yeah, that's the idea. If that's what you're hearing on the radio, that's what the industry standard is in the metric of what people want to hear.
Well, we come to music for different things, but there's no denying that music basically serves the purpose of the monoculture. So many of the songs I hated in school now give me a good feeling simply because there are very few things that have been in my life for that long. I'm not about to go out and buy Duran Duran Greatest Hits just yet, but I cannot deny. And music serves dual purposes in that there's the music that exists to bring entire global societies together, and there's weirdo shit like us where you almost want it to just have 200 views or something like that. And it's just weird knowing the exact odd number of previous views before you even start listening to it yourself. That's like a degree of resolution that the human mind almost can't bear. But anyway, that's what this record is about too.
Just checking on my questions here. Let's see where I had those. I've really enjoyed it. I've got a workshop. I was in a little metal box for about 11 hours yesterday, and I had it. I wanted to hear it, and I listened to it at least 3 or 4 times all the way through, and I jammed out to it. I pumped out a bunch of silkscreen T-shirts and stuff like that. I was working to it. And it kept me going. I really enjoyed it. And I've got the vinyl of True False over here ran a lot. It has been going. It's been going close to nonstop since I got it. I've really enjoyed the both of those. So I really appreciate this.
I'll say they're depressing. Like, they're not meant to be depressing. They're meant to be reassuring.
And I don't get that. I told Mr. Mark that the book, the YouTube book. I'm sorry that the title is escaping me real quick, but the big lawsuit book, which I told him was like the one of the scariest horror novels I had ever experienced, because it's just this list of just this war against you from intellectual property rights holders. Like that's it. That's their big title. Is like people that own copyrights, and they're just coming at it. The book is as thick as a Bible. It's probably got a little bit more than the Bible. It's got faxes. The Bible doesn't have faxes. And to me, that's the scary part, is seeing, like, here's the proof that this is what comes in from that. And now more than ever, I feel like those same guys, they're begging the content song. was enjoyable. Producing that. What are the jobs going to be? McDonald's has figured out a way to get a robot to flip a hamburger. There's no reason that anybody needs to be focusing on a job. Trucks are going to drive themselves. Hamburgers will flip themselves. So yeah, you do have in that there was as an aspiring content creator, it's kind of daunting. I would hope to try and do something original and unique, can aspire to, and then I rip off the match game from my last radio show. But I can see now I'm rambling. I apologize.
No. This is interesting. I mean, how much of a living are you able to make from your monetization? I mean, is that open to conversation? I don't mean to.
No, by all means. I beg and plead. I have a Discord that I try to maintain relationships with the listeners and friends and fans, and then I have a Patreon. And every week I beg them for money onto the Patreon. The Patreon is actually what's paying for my warehouse where I'm making the merchandise and selling that on my own website, Pack Slack. So, and that literally got incorporated on Monday. Like, these things have been unfolding here for like 8 years for me. But I'm heavily reliant on my producer and wife. But she encourages me to do this, and I'm trying to build up this model and everything like that. But there's a lot of other people out there doing it, and a lot of them are going the pop music route. It's slow motion videos of cats hitting a wall just over and over and over again, and I can't compete with that.
Participate.
Content. Never forget the fact that we are all just content. That anything you put out there, you're content. We are all just potential content for someone else's needs.
I think people are happy to participate.
There's just hundreds of people rolling their dice, throwing their hat into the content providing ring. Content. Forever.
Make it mandatory.
Content.
You don't have to pay people to participate.
Your content.
You're forced to participate.
My content.
You're forced to participate.
Content is eternal. Forever. Eternity.
You don't need people anymore.
Nothing you can do about it. Content. Nothing you can do. Content. You will be mashed up, cut up, repackaged for someone else's needs.
The world's largest hotel chain owns no hotels.
Are we manipulable?
The world's largest retailer has no inventory.
Manipulable. I can't talk.
And the world's largest media company creates no content.
Yeah, we're not producing the content. We're allowing users to share.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly.
It's easy.
You get all this user-generated content free. You don't have to do anything.
I don't create it.
Right? You don't have to pay the agency.
I own it.
I think people are happy to participate.
It's expensive.
Your content.
You know what I mean? It's like the sounds that are used are not cheap.
My content.
They're very expensive sounding sounds. That sound, right? I just had to get used to it.
It's the responsibility of the industry to figure out how to extract their value out of each generation.
I want to know what they're talking about amongst themselves, and I want to spread that content to the people who aren't this content yet.
Content.
100% of the growth is going to companies that don't create any content.
Once we have these inspirational provocations,
your content
Data whisperers will become the new messiahs.
My content.
To create ideas so contagious, they cannot be controlled. Content.
I like being in the vortex.
You got no control over it, man. It's eternal.
When I'm in the vortex, I like being in the vortex. When I'm in the vortex, I want never to leave. When I'm in the vortex, I love the people who help me put stuff in the vortex.
We're allowing users to
participate.
Clearly, you're in the vortex. It feels good. Your words reflect. It feels like clarity. You're in the vortex. It feels like power.
That's it.
Participate. And it will be my eternal quest.
Eternity.
To give up whatever I have to give
Your
up
content.
in order to spend more of my time
Forever.
in the vortex.
No one can compete with cats.
It's got me scared. That's why I have to call on like pros, like big time celebrity hotshots to get a leg up, so I can sell some more T-shirts.
Not that. We are not that, because this is oh boy.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I hear you. The aggregators are counting on the sample lawsuits of the early 90s were a warning shot, because they appeared to be a free speech issue. Like, these major corporations were keeping indie label level artists and the new wave of hip hop artists, which were identified with the underground, from being able to make their creative statements. And it was a pretty cut and dried example of that. Yet fast forward 30 years later to the robots automatically enforcing everything, we've got the same situation again already. You can't upload anything without some totally automated copyright owner misidentifying the sound of static as their copyrighted recording of a stream or an airplane. And there's no contesting it. So it's just strange. 10 years ago, when Girl Talk was, clearing $30,000 a show for being able to, just play nonstop music by other people and seemingly locking it because the internet had liberated everybody, and that was good news. That I was impressed by that. I was happy about that. But yeah, that's not where it's ended up. And I don't know what kind of lawsuit can bring these issues back to the free speech prerogative that seemed so clear in the early 90s. We're not free online, and there is no way for independents to really make a living doing this. They're counting on us making the content for their platforms and walking away with 100% of the advertising revenue.
Sure, I've been milking friends and family for years. It's hard. They want you to make stuff that's appealing to the masses, and they want you to keep making it, and they don't like how should I phrase this? They don't like it when you try to subvert anything, and they don't like you giving away. They don't want you to show how the sausage is being made, to refer to earlier's conversation. It just needs to magically be there. And for consumers, I've done a couple of live performances. I've had a band or two, and I would have people going like, "Man, must be nice. You just get up here and go for 45 minutes, and you walk out with a few bucks." It's like, but you don't see the rehearsals and the writing process and all. They don't see that, and they don't think about that. Just like the same that, they see it as that's what they did to get paid for. And I saw them do that. Man, what a great life that must be. Because I was in the mines for 14 hours today, and I can barely afford this sandwich I'm eating. But they're the same person that's going to be sitting there scrolling past you as videos of cats come by. So, yeah, it's digital enslavement. Basically, just you won't have to go to Walmart to clock in for your job at Walmart now. You can just stay at home and live blog yourself eating frozen macaroni and crying.
Facebook loves it when you go on Facebook and complain about Facebook. It's it's all the media literacy techniques that seems to be survival, issues of survival or resistance. The strange thing about the self-publishing aesthetic of social media is that all of these forms of resistance now have been seemingly assimilated. Who cares if you use social media to warn people about the ill effects of social media? So, to some degree, this new record we've just put out is a little bit on the nose due to all of this frustration but it's sort of in it, go outside. Outside is still nice. Not necessarily an indoor mall currently with a degree of infectiousness, but hikes are still safe. I guess that's what the record was trying to say.
Take a walk. Negativland says take a walk.
Oh man, that should have been the title. It would have been that much more. Oh, I don't know what they're trying to say with this new record. What's it called again? Yeah.
The globe will fool us. Rapid fire. Flat Earth or hollow flat Earth?
Where do the reptilians live again?
They live in the cream center of the hollow flat Earth. I have a question here from caller 23. He's given me a couple of them, but because he's insane, I have to make sure that I pick the right one. All right. After listening to Familiar, I'm hearing a lot of traditional experimental, and I'm hearing zero dubstep. Would you say that dubstep or other hard forms of techno sound like that are even experimental? Was dubstep or industrial music, like maybe Throbbing Gristle, ever experimental? When does a new genre... No, I'm going to read it the way he spelled it. Genera. Does a new genera cease to be experimental and start to become a standard?
Yeah. It's curious. I haven't heard Throbbing Gristle used in too many bank commercials yet, unlike Burial or something. Like, that stuff was sort of instantly assimilated into the kind of music that easily sold things. And I still haven't seen blood on the floor, like, in a Merrill Lynch commercial. But Throbbing Gristle, I still listen to those records. And the thing about Familiar, if you're talking about the record I did with Dieter Mobius and Tim Story, it's, Dieter Mobius is he's a legend of electronic music. And when I was growing up in the 80s and going to the electronic music sections in stores, you could find 10 copies of every single Terrible Tangerine Dream album. And you could find, all these Klaus Schultz records, and you could find a lot of really terrible electronic music. But it was really hard to find the Cluster record. Dieter Mobius was half of the band Cluster. So, yeah, I don't know. Those records never wore out for me. Like Cluster and all the Cluster solo records, I still listen to those constantly. They still sound really experimental, and I still haven't heard them on many bank commercials. So, I guess it's not surprising that my record with him doesn't sound like dubstep. But thank you for listening to it.
He's got two more here. I feel like one was tying into where I was going a little bit earlier. Do you have any smart devices in your house? Do you have any Alexas or Siris, or are you bugged?
I have a lot of. I make a point of turning Siri off on every single one of them, but that is not to say that I have control over the microphone. I do use Facebook, but I've used Facebook on devices that are old enough where I can still use them on the browser, where I can visit Facebook entirely on the browser. No, I don't like Alexa or Siri myself, and I wouldn't have them in my own home.
All right.
Nope. But I'm in a band with somebody who works on Alexa sound design. The band Sagan. I was in a tribute to Carl Sagan, and my friend Levin Blechtem is. She works on the sound design team in Alexa, and she's actually morally responsible for some of those sounds.
Man, grabbing a drink with work friends with you it could be a tense experience.
The Bay Area is weird, where there really are a lot of. I haven't been able to have a corporate job for the last 4 years, but I managed it for a while, and it was deeply confusing. How is
the Bay Area now? I only hear what I would hear on mass media, but it feels like I hear the word here in Central Florida, gentrification, a lot, even though it's a lot of empty swampland just being built on. But you're in an urban area, you're in a dense urban area, and it's been known for. How can you be a bastion of counterculture if that means that enough of something is going on, it's creating a culture? It's counterintuitive, but you've got that. So how is the Bay Area now? Are these records maybe a representation of that? Is that what life is like over there?
Yeah, the last record is definitely self-portraiture of when you drive up and down Route 101, you see billboards such as "Task Humans" from software, or "Data is the new." What is it? Life data is the new electricity.
Ooh.
Yeah, like sort of these weird corporate slogans advertising things, and you're not even really sure exactly what's being advertised, except it always ends up being like Salesforce or admin software. You know, it doesn't get much more clearer than Task Humans from software, what people are up to out here and where the money is. And there's always idealism under the surface. Like, I think it's really great that we're going to be able to have apps that tell you whether or not someone is lying to you on a date, or can gauge the emotional honesty of their smile before you decide whether or not to fall in love with them. Like, this is what I'm working on. This is the app that I'm working on. You know, these things might seem altruistic, but they are also deeply systemic in ways that we can't quite ever trick ourselves into believing that we can stay on top of.
They're just making what the people
how
want.
Much give away. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, I interrupted. I keep I'm not the funny one. I just make all the funny comments. The funny guy, he quit. Yeah, I miss him. Let me see here. I know you're tight on time, so I think I don't know. Should the general public be weary? Oh, man. Should the general public be weary of the wealthy?
Well, it depends on what you mean by wealthy.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
You know, I think one of the problems is income inequality is the enemy here. And that's a better way of thinking about the problem than individuals in and of themselves to have problems with. You know, the rich are their own victims just as much as anything else. And
everybody's got anxiety.
Yeah, just be careful. Be careful of mob behavior in and of itself. It's not just the money and the people who own it in and of themselves that are the problem. It's been interesting. I need to rewatch Noam Chomsky's Manufacturing Consent again, because that really did have several moments that still ascribed individual agency to the people who owned corporate and broadcast media, when even then it was clear that shareholders and systemic thinking prevented any real action from the people who presumably had the power to change the world or halt climate change or any of these things. The entire notion of the individual has shifted quite a bit with this whole social media complex, and that's what I spend more time thinking about than individual wealthy people that I'd like to think of as a problem. Although Zuckerberg, yeah, that guy, Zuckerberg is a problem.
He's a robot.
So wealthy, sure, there are a lot of wealthy people out there, but Zuckerberg has such concentrated wealth and is so systemically managed to evade accountability by keeping the majority of shares of his company to himself, to allow himself to have unchecked power. That's not good. The leaders of the current big five tech corporations have more power than they by all rights should. So these are the things to think about rather than wealth in and of itself.
Well, wealth in this sense. You have wealth in a financial sense then, such as a Zuckerberg paycheck, a Zuckerberg mansion. But then you have a different bank of wealth, and I think that's a core theme of this album, which is personal information and dossiers. You have all of this concentrated data that even if the website were to go down tomorrow for any reason, he's still got this mainframe of what it was designed to do. And that would it makes me wonder, you could answer if you think you've got one for this, but which one is more valuable? Would it be the business side? Would it be that the physical assets of the company and the power that it has? Or would it be just the wealth of knowledge that he could store on a couple of thumb drives? Which would make...
The last 10 years assembling information about us, and their true product at this point isn't even as much our behavior as what they can predict about our behavior.
That's the idea.
And so these are no longer about ends of entertainment or merely seizing our attention. This is about, when you're self-publishing, what is coercion? We really think we're doing it ourselves. Zuckerberg's interview with Yuval Noah Harari was really good. I would recommend that. That's the answer to your question.
Okay.
It's about an hour, but Yuval goes really in deep during the last 15 minutes. That was about a year and a half ago. We didn't even bother to sample that one for the record, but Zuckerberg is it's the power, not the wealth, certainly. But how can you extricate it?
Thank you. I think that's what I was looking for there. I don't think that was what I was looking for there, which makes it what it is. Led into another question, but I'm gonna rephrase it based off of what we've had here. So you've got a guy on the street, and on the way out, he says, "Is there anything I should look out for?" You've got I'm going to give you one of, I think, the three things here. Then it'd be social media, the government, and then I'll just say the powerful. If you could pick one of those three things to fire off to him, what would be your parting advice on that? You've only got those three: social media, the government, or the wealthy/powerful. Who should you look out for?
The electromagnetic field being emanated by your phone? No, just kidding there. See, that's the thing. I guess the reason why we call the record "The World Will Decide" is that it was an attempt at keeping the perspective on the decisions that are made by all of the systems working in concert with each other. Instead of thinking about individual powers, like for instance in this country right now, one useful way of thinking about what's happening now is not as a tragedy, but as a larger brain made of individuals that are in conflict with each other, but that are working in concert to take this country out, to take this country down, reduce its influence, that the division in and of itself is a decision being made for the greater good. By taking America out of the equation. And it just does seem to be what's naturally happening. It's there's a certain degree of intelligence about the way that this is all breaking down, because that's the effect. It's what neither side on the ideological struggle working to make this country survive is interested in. But well, it's the world deciding as we watch it all go down. So I don't think I can answer the question by picking one of those three. It's, I would just go back and say the world is making a call.
Keep your head up and your eyes open.
Yeah.
It's a warning. Do you have time for one more?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, I've got one more from caller 23 here. This is project-oriented. I've noticed that you have a couple of pieces of code associated with the new album, including a Chrome plugin and an Alexa extension. Code is another area where copyright infringement is rampant, and cutting and pasting of other people's code into your own creation is very common. Can you comment on the similarities and differences between code and music as artistic forms of expression, and do you see coding becoming a bigger or more expressive art form?
Well, it definitely already is. Like, I've been obsessed with the people who, what is the name? I can't remember the person's name, but the person who as early as the mid-60s realized that the ways in which computer language was constructed inevitably led one to moral and ethical decisions, and that the morality and ethical imperatives of computer programming were already at a breaking point. We see this today when we talk about like rolling back the use of the terms master and slave from computer languages, and whether what it says about us that these terms exist in language itself.
Sure.
Yes, my friend Steve Heiss, who runs the server that I still check my email on, ran open source workshops in San Francisco in the late 90s, thinking that it was a revolution that was going to make profiting from selling computer programs impossible. And what he found instead was that corporations love the idea of open source coding and love open source, love all of this free code. And he was confused about it at first. Like, I don't understand why all these deep corporate people are so into the open source movement. And then it finally occurred to Steve, they take the code and ignore the part where you say you just can't make a commercial project. If you utilize free code, you're required to have your product be free as well. Powerful corporations simply ignore that part. And working for DigiDesign and working for Dolby, the number of times that I was aware of code getting built in that was ostensibly open source, and then the hand-wringing that would result from how to go about the fact that this inextricable code, do we rewrite it? How do we rewrite it? It's pretty basic code. Like, no, corporations just basically take things. That's what they do. They love it when people make stuff for free and then simply are unbeholden to the ethical contracts that try to guide people toward moral use cases. But it'd be great, and the lessons are still there. They're still just because those corporations do right things doesn't mean that the people who are working and who define ethical programming use cases aren't heroes. And Joseph Weizenbaum, the person who wrote Eliza, and very slowly realized that the issue with AI and automation of human labor the question wasn't what human jobs can machines take over, because machines are going to be able to take over the easiest ones happen first. The question is, what jobs should machines be allowed to take over? That will, because if we don't figure out what those jobs are that we need to do ourselves in order to stay human, then, these jobs are just going to be replaced, and one can say that that's already been happening.
Sure.
But, yeah, most of my favorite music this year, as far as the difference between code and collage music, the Google OpenAI SoundCloud accounts that have been using code to gradually ingest and make machine legible tons of human music and then make new files in the style of other musicians. That's been what I've been listening to most this year. And it's the next step beyond sampling. Code is already the next step behind sampling. Why take recordings by an artist and make a new piece of music out of that? Have a machine listen to every single song an artist has ever made and then average together what it thinks that artist was trying to do. It's incredibly disturbing, but it tells me more about the current world we already live in than a lot of other records that have been made this year. iTunes has basically let me know that that's the record I listened to most this year, was my rips of the OpenAI SoundCloud account.
Wow.
So yeah, that's
and that's costing them money. You're not giving them. You're not giving them any gas to come at you with what they've got in the store. They don't know what to recommend over to you. You have to keep the robots guessing.
Yeah. There's still that 5% chance of doing something interesting with it. But right now it's already, the mistakes are already mistakes that humans can't make themselves. And so it's definitely interesting.
I felt that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. No, you go ahead.
I felt that the Chrome extension existed purely so if somebody told you that they loved the Chrome extension, you could berate them for using Chrome, and that would just be it.
The thing those two releases had in common is that you should definitely not be using Chrome as your browser, and you should definitely not have an Alexa in your house. So we made extensions to bring these facts to your attention. If there are any other developers out here who want to work on any other extensions for consumer objects that exist to spy on you and make them work less efficiently, we would love to hear from you so that we can, maybe release a couple of extra singles from the record. That's the statement.
Sure, I'll put. I know a couple of guys. I was working on my own VPN software, which basically locks your keyboard and mouse and prevents you from using the internet, and offering that at a subscription fee too. So check out Fnord VPN when it's up.
I will check that out. That sounds like that's the same concept.
I gave away the joke, so I have to cut that out.